Order for the public health and safety. We have 3 of us here, so that is enough to get started. Well, then we'll hurry up and start. Well, 2 of them all at once. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried. We've got fireworks permits on the agenda, 3 different ones. How do we want to handle them? Together, separate? Any issue on doing them
No, sir. Nope.
together?
In your
separate?
tablets, you
Any
should have
of
all your
us?
information, I think. The only thing that you might not have is a map for the Tana Kingsbury Memorial event. That's going to be on June 6th at the end of the women's softball tournament. Jen Starr is going to be shooting off a display that evening. That might be the only thing that you may not have already, but I have a map here if you're interested in seeing that. The tournament's going to be at Cadwell Park, and she is interested in shooting off the fireworks just to the north of the west lots, or not lots, what am I trying to think of? Softball diamonds there. Okay. Yeah. Brain fart.
Oh, out in the old soccer fields?
Correct. Yep. So she's shooting off 2-inch shells. So she only needs 150 feet of fallout area. So she has plenty of room there between the other diamonds and the bypass to the west. That would be the only thing that you haven't seen. The 4th of July fireworks are the same thing, different company this year. They are adding 2 10-inch shells, which then requires them to have a larger fallout area up to, I believe, 700 feet. And we have that more than plenty on where they shoot off. We have plenty of area out there also.
Okay.
So.
The only question I have is, what happens if the burn ban's still in effect, or it goes off and goes back into effect? How does that impact the
Well,
fire?
Councilman, I knew you were going to ask that question tonight, so I looked it up. According to the Davidson County resolution that they made, at the bottom of that in the last paragraph, it states there will be no open burning and so forth and no fireworks except for fire department approved private and public displays complete with fire suppression standby service. So basically, if the fire department deems it's okay and that we have the proper suppression there, they can do it.
I move to approve all 3 of the fireworks displays.
Good.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of all 3. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
Have someone from Lutheran Church here for invocation? Apparently not. Roll call, please.
Olson,
Here?
Rice,
Here.
Tronis, Dosher,
Here.
Barrington,
Here.
Allen,
Here.
Parks, Smith.
Here.
We have a quorum, so we will convene the meeting. Councilman Thomas is on vacation this week. Approval of the consent agenda. Items appearing on the consent agenda may be removed by a city council member for discussion at the beginning of the formal agenda items. Anything that anyone wishes to either discuss or remove?
This is one of those times when I really miss paper because I do have a question, but I have to find it. So hang on just a second. I know that I have it. So, consent agenda items. I might have to just scroll. I think it was like N. Oh, you have a book? I think it might be N. What is N?
Hey,
Oh, maybe so. Let me just look and see. I'm so sorry about this. I wasn't quite ready for this. Yes, it's right here. You're right. It wasn't. I said I thought we were holding some back from MS&R. Are we holding any back from MS&R? It looks like this next one will bring us to within, basically $16,000. Are we holding any back until?
Can I answer that for you?
Huh?
I can answer that for you. After the council's last request, I visited with Carl, and according to the contract documents, you cannot withhold payment for performance. You have to pay within 60 days of the invoice being received. So we did hold that until the last time that we could to make the payment, but we do have to make the payment now. Correct?
The AI
Institute of Architects is the authorized contract for the city to enter, and they protect their architects.
Well, there you go.
Now, how we would,
We do have the opportunity to continue the discussion after the contract is closed out, but there's another set of criteria set up to go through at that point.
Okay, that's my
Okay.
question answered.
As long as we're on this subject, are we required to go to arbitration, or do we just sue?
I think it designates arbitration. My recollection is correct.
As long as we're on the subject of the Corn Palace, is there any news on the domes as far as an engineer looking at them or anything like that?
I'll maybe start and Shane can chime in and answer for me too. We did just receive the calculations that we were waiting for, I believe on Friday evening. Today they were reviewed. We did get an email today from Eric the architect, and he was asking for some additional review on a couple items. So it doesn't look like that. Even though we have the engineer's stamp sign off, we still have to have the TSP engineer do the review and some additional follow-up questions that Eric had. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, that's about it. Just got the calculations last Friday, and just 15 minutes ago, they were forwarded to Mark Langdith for review for the from TSP.
Do we have any timeline?
On Eric's email, it just said as soon as possible to report back to the owner, so I'm not sure.
If I spoke with McGrath, and they didn't want to schedule a crane and then have it canceled at the last minute because then it'd be hard to get them back. So they're going to make sure that everyone is satisfied and that all the reviews are signed off. And then as soon as that happens, I think we could have the domes installed within a few days.
Well, the reason I ask is I'm an avid NPR listener, and on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, the South Dakota We're Better to Live Here Than Mars campaign was discussed, and the Mitchell Corn Palace came up. On the dinner party download, same kind of thing, and they were remarking about how beautiful the domes were, and if you were in South Dakota, that there was more to see than just Mount Rushmore, and be sure to stop in Mitchell and see the domes. And so we have a nationwide audience that has been encouraged to stop by and see our domes, and I'd like them to be able to see them if they take that advice. So, I mean, I realize I'm killing the messenger here, but
That's okay. Yeah, I'll be in contact with them probably daily just to make sure that this is moving forward, nothing's getting stalled, and as soon as, we get everyone to sign off on it, we'll be pushing to have these installed as soon as possible. I'm hoping that it'd be well within a month.
Shane, what if something happens to them domes when they're up there and they twist? What happens? What kind of liability do they have?
Well,
That's what I got asked here
you
this past weekend.
You have engineers from Minnesota as well as South Dakota that have signed off on it. That was the engineer with South Dakota license. That's what we were waiting for last week. We received that on Friday. Them putting their stamp on it, they're taking liability as far as it is complying with all the design standards.
I believe 10 years.
Very good. Thank you.
Anything else on the consent agenda from the council?
Move to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there anyone in the public audience that wishes to discuss or remove any item from the consent agenda? If not, we will have a roll call vote, please.
Olson.
Aye.
Rice.
Aye.
Dosher.
Aye.
Barrington.
Aye.
Allen.
Aye.
Charts. Aye. Smith.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Citizens input. If you need to address the mayor and members of the city council on an item that was not on the agenda, please come forward to the podium and state your name and your concern. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes. Items will be considered, but no action will be taken at this time. Council or anyone from the audience have any items for citizens input? Yes.
My name's Robert Ball. I own H&R Salvage. I did a purchase of the Dakota Salvage thing here. I got all the paperwork, pictures, different things I can pass around for you. I won't take a lot of your time. I spoke with the mayor about it, Danny about it a little bit. Can't think of anybody else I stuck to right off the jump. What I'm asking for is I have the papers here that was performed by Geotech and by the state of South Dakota. When I purchased the place, they did a soil analysis of it. I put water wells on it, so make sure there's no drainage, no seepage. Everything came back good until we got to the point of delivering it to the Mitchell County landfill, or to the Mitchell City landfill. Then we ran into some problems. The classification of what the city of Mitchell, Ron Olson wants to call it, what the DNR called it, and what it was classified in the other 3 landfills that are a landfill similar to ours. It's a Section D landfill. All 3 of the other landfills would let me drive it to their landfill. Vermillion, Sioux Falls, and Brookings for a fee no less than $11. The city of Mitchell's one wants to charge me $39 after a $41,000 fee that I did myself to bring the DNR involved. Went through months and months of planning. I have all the paperwork to you. I'll just give you a heads up on it. I'm going to bring it to your attention next time, so I won't take a lot of your time. If you want to look at these pictures, you're sure more than welcome to. If you don't, I'll have individual ones for every one of you next time. But I just wanted to touch base with that.
Very good. And I'll just maybe a very brief explanation. He has some soil from the what used to be Shanks Salvage Yard. And first of all, a determination had to be made whether or not the soil was, what it was classified, was it hazardous or just contaminated. If it was hazardous soil, we cannot accept it in our landfill. DENR and maybe Geotech and our consultant all, I think, agreed that it was not hazardous, but it was contaminated. from that point, then we got into the issue of whether it's classified as contaminated soil, which our charge for that is $7.50 a ton. If, in fact, it is not classified as contaminated soil, and that main criteria for that is if it has like petroleum products in it only. And that you don't necessarily even have to put it in a landfill, but you could. The other issue is what was, I think, for some determined that there was material in it in addition to the contaminated or the petroleum products, which then puts it in a different classification of rather than contaminated with petroleum, then it is considered solid waste, which is basically the same as would be your garbage and so on. Well, the charge for that's $39 a ton. So that's kind of basically the issue. I told Mr. Ball that due to the lateness of the discussion that we had, that we were not able to put it on the agenda for tonight. And even so, he was certainly welcome to come forward and basically explain the situation. And but no action could be taken on it. And so we will put it on the agenda for next week. And if you have whatever information that you have that you wish for the council to see, if you would have copies for everyone as well as maybe the press, so that everyone has the documents that you're going to present.
Sure, you bet. And I spoke also with Jeff Medema, the owner of Medema Sanitation, and with Larry Petrick to make sure it wasn't a conflict against anybody who that delivers a lot to your landfill. And they said we weren't bad. Their words were, we're not talking apples for apples. You know, we're not talking, you know, you can load this stuff and drive down the road without covering it at 80 miles an hour. And, you know, it's a plastic, car parts, you know, if any, all of you has probably been there before, you know how the operation was ran. So anyway, I'll even bring you a little glass. You can have a piece. Thank you.
If we could have that stuff early enough to have it as part of the book, that would be great.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, you could have it as early as, what is tomorrow, Tuesday? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thursday. Perfect. Be soon enough? Yep. All righty, thank you.
Anyone else?
I have three quick things. The first, I'd just like to acknowledge Billy Lurkin. He was on Austin City Limits, and I thought he did a great job here this last Saturday night. And then I received the Mitchell Tourism book in the mail. I thought that was very professionally done, looked great. Then the last thing I'd like to bring to the council's attention is, of course, Anytime Fitness with the Embers building. And we were talking about, you know, scratching backs last time. They're giving us a visitor center for free for 7 years, and I think we should consider that when we're talking about whether or not Park and Rec's going to go 24 hours.
Anyone else? Not, we will move on. Update from the city administrator. Stephanie, do you have?
I don't really have anything to update you on this week, but I would stand available if anybody has any questions on any open items or anything that we've discussed previously. Nope. Nothing else?
Okay. Committee report, public health and safety.
Public health and safety met at 7:20. We had 3 items on the agenda. Fireworks for June 6th for Tana Kingsbury, fireworks on June 19th for the Heart and Soul Cancer Walk, and fireworks on the 4th of July. There was discussion and questions related to what would happen if the burn ban was still in place, and there are provisions made that if the fire department approves and is on site for possible fire mitigation, that it could be approved even if the burn ban is in place. Motion and approved for approval of the fireworks permits, and the committee closed at 7:24.
Entertain a motion to approve the committee report.
So moved.
Motion and a second to approve the committee report. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Entertain a motion for the city council to recess and sit as the Board of Adjustment.
So moved.
Motion second to set as a Board of Adjustment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Set the date, entertain a motion to set the date of May 18th, 2015 for the Board of Adjustment hearing as listed below.
Move to set the date.
Second.
Motion second to set the date of May 18th, 2015. Any discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A hearing on the application of Aaron and Jessica Boz for a height variance of 28 feet. Is this part of the, oh, this is a separate hearing. Yes. Is this to set the date? It's not, is it? This is a hearing. Yeah, excuse me. To set the variance of 28 feet versus 23 feet for construction of a building located at 6020 Livesay Lane, legally described as Lot 4, Block 8 of CJM Second Edition, City of Mitchell.
Mayor and council members, if I could direct your attention to the Planning Commission minutes that were included in your package, you would see that the Planning Commission did hold a hearing on this request and did unanimously recommend approval of this. This is just north of, on the North Harmon Drive, in there, that Anthony Avenue, Livesay Lane area. And this property is located in a planned development district, and so this would exceed the height limitation in there. The developer is receptive to it, and again, there was no opposition to it.
Is this their home that they're building? What is this?
This is a accessory building, a large building. The size isn't an issue. They want a higher roof line.
No neighbor opposition? Move to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the height variance. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Entertain a motion for the Board of Adjustment to adjourn and the City Council to reconvene in regular session.
Second.
Motion second to reconvene in regular session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action to approve on the application of Joey Davis Entertainment for a special event license located at Hitchcock Park and to obtain a noise permit for the Davis Days concert on May 30th, 2015.
Yes, it's me. It's my name, Joey Davis, and I do Joey Davis Entertainment. And pretty much what that is I have a DJ group, and I do a rap. That's what I do, is I rap. And what I'm trying to do is just make sure everyone that I have in my age group, my fans, I want everyone to be able to go to my shows. And my last shows I do was usually at like Bar, Thirsties, or the Moonlight. And we don't do anything other than just inside stuff. So I want to bring it to a bigger light by going outside. That's why I was driving around one day and I saw Hitchcock Park. I said, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was here. That was really cool. So that's what I'm trying to get. That's why I want to do that venue. So.
Have you ever looked at, Thirsties had one before 2 or 3 years ago out in the parking lot.
I have not. I didn't know that, I guess.
They had one 3 years ago. You ever looked at that instead of a city-owned park?
Yeah, I did not.
I have a problem with it being for profit. You know, we have the charity events here, but for profit thing in the park, I'm just not in favor of that. I don't think the way that people live there, I think we'd have problems with that in their backyard and with the traffic and that time, but with everything else going on there, I just don't think it's a good idea.
The thing about the, what was I going to say? The profit, I am very new to this, and I really didn't know how to go about doing a charity or anything about like that. I would love to do that. The only reason I did this is because I've always done shows where, you know, I'll pay so much and then I make it in return. It's not a thing I'm doing on purpose to, you know, I can easily do a charity event. I just didn't know how to go about it. I've never done it before. I'm very new. It's like 3 weeks in my business, so.
Yeah, I guess my concern is I would have no concern if you were doing this indoors as you did earlier. I went on, I don't know if it was your Facebook page or.
Oh, probably my Reverb Nation.
Okay.
Yep.
And I thought the music was catchy. I think you have a great voice, you know. My concern is the lyrics.
Yeah.
And it's a public park. It's a time of year where it's warm and there's light. There's going to be children and families. And if there aren't children and families in the park, there are going to be people trying to enjoy their backyards. And they're going to hear about, maternal fornicators and female dogs and things of that nature. And I just don't think that's appropriate for a public park in an outdoor setting. And again, if you were doing it anywhere indoors, that's not an issue. But I think for me, the issue is, people who enjoy your music, that's great. But for people who don't, to be subjected to that in their homes, I don't think is right. So if you were doing this indoors, obviously you wouldn't need our permission. But that's my concern. That small children are going to hear words that I think pretty much all of us agree small children shouldn't hear.
Right.
There's some small children here tonight.
I agree. And I do, yes, I do agree with that. With my music, I do both. I can have, the profanity in it, and I can do it completely where I don't say any words like that. Like I can replace them with other words, and I've done that because when I do my performances, I do it just the beat or the instrumental that I use plays, and then I say on top of it what I say. So any words, I can make it a whole thing where I don't say one swear word. And the only reason I did all of those other ones is because I'm just, just starting to make music, and now it's starting to take off somewhere. So now I'm making more songs like Dreamers. Like, I don't know if you saw that one, but it's just...
I think you have, I do musicals and that kind of thing at the high school. I'm a public school teacher. And I think you have a great voice. And if you could guarantee me a clean show, I guess that's a different deal. But I was going off what I was hearing.
Right.
And the second there's a 4-letter word, all of us here are going to get a phone call. And, people are going to be upset about the noise, but if they're swearing at all, whether it's you or this other fellow, DJ Casey John, or the music that you would play. I mean, I know there's some music on the radio that you can get edited or not edited. So
right.
I guess... What's the intention of the playlist?
Do you mean like the music that I'm gonna play, or I guess I'm not following you.
Well, I guess if I'm going to a Liam Neeson movie,
right,
I'm not expecting to hear him sing and tap dance.
True.
So when people are coming to your shows, are they expecting to hear about golden retrievers and daffodils instead of the normal fare?
Yes, I know what you mean now. When people come to my shows, yes, and you want to hear my music and stuff like that, it's more of the beat, because I incorporate dancing into it too, because I dance also, and that's where I get a lot of my crowd, is because I do something different that usually people don't do, and I'm bringing more stuff into it. Like, I have people in mascot outfits come out and dance to the new hot dance that's going on. Just something to liven up and get everyone involved, like the crowd and everyone else that's happening. That's the biggest reason I wanted to do this at the park, was because it's different, it's outside. I didn't know about the pool thing. It's the first day that they're opening. But, yeah.
So if I understand your application, you would be done, not to call your music noise, but being loud at 10 o'clock, and that last hour is just taking the equipment down?
Yeah, because I don't know when the cutoff time was for me to stop. So I can stop at any time whenever I'm supposed to. And yeah, and then it just be take all my stuff, pick it all up, clean up the park before we leave. All of that.
I got one question. In the application, you said you're still waiting on the insurance requirement.
Oh, yes,
So
Fisher
did that come in or not? Do you have that?
He did not call me yet. So I was going to call him tomorrow. I should have called him probably today, but he said he was waiting. I don't know who he said he was waiting on. He had to wait on someone to quote something. So that's right now where I'm at. And he said it's probably gonna happen. He just got to give me a quote for how much it's gonna cost.
Okay. I guess I kind of view this as we have requirements to use the park, including noise, alcohol, safety, insurance, security, etc. And I really like the fact that you're trying to promote something for what I'll call 30 and under, 25 and under stuff for people to do. The lyrics bother me. The fact that the pool will be occupied at least from 6 to 8 o'clock that night, while you're starting at 6 o'clock and having basically, and the pool has noise, and the radio station is playing on the pool speakers at the same time you're doing that, and I've had people say, "Oh, the swimming pool's too loud." Well, it's a swimming pool. So I would really like to say yes, but the lyrics are a deterrent for me. And the fact that insurance isn't in yet I want to make sure we're being fair across anybody that says they want to put on a concert there. And that we have requirements on insurance, noise, et cetera, that type of stuff. And if you meet those, I would be inclined to say yes if I had some assurance on the lyrics.
Steve, going to other outdoor events, and I also agree with you on lyrics-wise. Obviously, he's up here telling us that he's going to watch his lyrics. Other outdoor events that we had a street dance down on Main Street, not the Memorial one. Back in the days, Jackpot closed down 6th Street right out front here. He did a concert. Obviously, those people could have used bad lyrics, but we took their word for it. I know we've had a concert out at the YWCA campground. I think it was for a cancer fundraiser, but it was a concert, and those people could have used foul language, but obviously I hope they didn't. They must not have. And I know your lyrics have that involved, but you're obviously saying also that I can avoid those and not say them. And I think that's obviously one of those leap of faith that we'd have to take if we're going to move that way, because any other outdoor concert could have done that to us already is what I'm getting at. So I think we got to keep that a little bit open-minded on that portion of it. Looking at a reason to say no to it, I think we need to go to a different direction is what I'm trying to ask, because this could have happened already with other bands that we've had outdoors. We've had a big concert one time outdoor. I can't remember what name of the group was. It was Foreigner or whatever it is, but what could they have said in the microphone? I think we got to keep that all in mind and sort of keep that in discretion of, do we really need to consider that as one of our portions of it when he's telling us up here, I'm going to change the words, I'm not going to have that. And he's trying to create a fundraising, not only a fundraising, but an event for, like you said, that age group that we hear from people in our town. There's nothing to do in this town. He's trying to sort of get that group of individuals involved, which we get some of those activities like that. I think we got to take a good look at it, trying to get more activities for that age group that is out there looking for stuff to do and not out there trying to cause trouble.
Can you speak for this other fellow?
Oh, the DJ, yeah.
Yeah, as far as
not
lyrics
having
and that
lyrics
kind of
like that. Right now, I have talked to him about it and said we might have to do it where we don't use all that language and stuff. And he's like, he has a set like that. It's a shorter set. It wouldn't be like a long set. So that might be me even cutting less time, so I could go even later, from a 7 to 9, which might even be better also.
Have you looked at you haven't looked at any other sites. Would you be opposed to checking into those?
I would. The reason I jumped on the Hitchcock Park one is because the stage is just phenomenal. To me, I love how size it is.
And you're looking to be outdoors.
Yeah, right? And I just want to do something that people aren't really doing. Yeah.
The one concern I've got is the obviously we're going to be acting also on a special event malt beverage license, and how we're going to be able to control, given the fact it is a family park,
right.
and close to the pool, and obviously the outdoor play area that we have. So, what was your thoughts on obviously we've got to be able to control the age group that comes in and out of here.
Right.
Have you put any thought to that?
Yeah, 100%. I drive there every day for about a week now, trying to figure out how I'm going to do it. I already told them I'm going to do fencing around it, and I want to do fencing around around the back of it, all the way around, and I'm going to come all the way up that walkway. So people have to walk in that way into it, but then I'll fence that off with a little rope or whatever we do.
Are you talking about the diagonal roadway that goes through the park?
Right, the diagonal. And then I was going to have, an officer there to, that'd be the first officer. I have officers around the outside just so to make sure people trying to sneak in and stuff like that, like underage or somebody's not supposed to be there, And the alcohol, the wristbands and stuff, we have all of that already talked about. We're going to have, I don't know if Judy's going to be bringing that up, but we are going to have wristbands and just kind of just like a street dance, really. A street dance would. Just, I don't know about the kids that would try and bring extra stuff in, but that's also like a street dance also, you know. I don't know what they're going to do, but I can speak on the fact that I'm going to put 100% into making sure it goes just exactly how I say it.
Have you done any outdoors? I mean, obviously, this would be your first outdoors in Mitchell, but have you done any other ones outdoors?
This is my first outdoor show, yeah.
Are you from here in Mitchell?
I do live in Mitchell, yeah.
Did you go to school here?
I work at Verizon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious.
Lyndon, what's your take on this?
Lyndon, please come up.
If you go through it, I'd recommend the fencing. Nobody under 21 years of age if you grant the special event alcohol license. And then we would determine how many security officers we need. If it goes with alcohol, I'm going to say 5 to 10 officers. And he would pay the overtime rate plus 20%.
And so what does that cost?
It's going to average, it'll be around between $35 and $40 an hour per officer, plus the $500 fee for a special event, plus the $250 fee for the malt beverage, the special event license. And then he also wants fencing, signs. There's some other fees inside there.
Yeah,
It's going to be probably $1,500 total or better.
$1,500?
Yes. Probably $2,000. Depending on, you know, how late we got to stick around and the whole works.
So Lyndon, when you're saying the fencing, obviously for the alcohol, which definitely understand that. The one time I think they did it down on Main Street. Obviously, if he's charging for individuals to get into this, and obviously they can be in the park anywhere and listen to music.
And that's what we talked about. I can't stop them from standing on the other side of the fence.
Correct.
But they wouldn't be able to drink outside of there.
Right. I think, for him to retain money from other ones that are willing to give money, I think the street dance we did one time, we had actually a big area that was fenced in, and then there was one portion of the area that you could have alcoholic beverages in, and the other area you could not, you know, so alcohol was only contained in that one area, but everybody was inside the fence actually paid money to get in, so the individual was recouping his money to pay for the $2,000 in fees that we have now. I'm just saying if that was a thought process or if it's one fence.
Yeah, I would a fence for the alcohol area. If he wants to put another fence around that one, I would have no problem with that too.
At Hitchcock Park, is this on the west side of the swimming pool or the east side?
You're looking at the west side, right?
West side, where that?
In the bandstand.
Yeah.
Mr. Davis, were you aware it was going to cost you $2,000 to?
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked about a lot of these fees ahead of time.
Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, I got one more. Have we had, I'm just trying to think of this other, like a tour de corn or something like, I can't remember what other event, but we've had alcohol in that park before, and have we had a music display?
Make-A-Wish is there.
Okay. I'm just trying to think, we're not recreating the wheel here,
The timing of the Make-A-Wish deal was and what we talked about. It's after the pool's closed and that type of stuff. So that was
I don't know if we've ever had somebody that does it just for personal gain. Most of the time, it's a charity event. I don't know if we've ever done it.
Right, but a lot of those, then we waive some of the fees to support the charity.
Right.
This one we're not.
Yeah.
This one we're not.
We were all 501.
Yeah. Whether we want to open that or not, I mean, there would be nothing to stop somebody from doing it every week, I suppose, if they want to.
Yeah, I guess that's the
If it
problem.
was lucrative.
Where do you stop?
For the park.
You could have
Yeah.
a concert
I mean,
there every
want to
week.
start.
And people who live there, that's not exactly what they want to have every week.
Well, if you got into that situation though, Randy, I do believe that us as a city council could formulate some kind of thing that, hey,
Policy.
if concert or policy, like there's only allowed one concert every 2 months or one concert a summer, that can definitely, if it ever goes that way. I'm thinking that it's not going to go that way, but I don't wish that on you. I'm just saying.
Same question of how many city band concerts do we have and what do we do if somebody complains that that's too noisy?
Well, and I guess my view on Randy's point is, you know, the people who lived around the football stadium,
We get complaints.
you know, every Friday night or Saturday afternoon or whatever, depending on if it's Mitchell or you know, that's just one of the things. I mean, you live next to a public park, there's gonna be some noise.
Yeah, we can control if we would ever get to
If
that
it
point,
got
which I
out,
don't
yeah.
think, we can control how many events could be held in that park, obviously, for those neighbors in that neighborhood.
If I could be absolutely confident that you weren't gonna let a single swear word slip, I'd be willing to give this a try for a local boy.
Right. Yeah, and I can. And also with the noise thing, I wanted to. I know this probably definitely help because I would go door to door and make sure this is going to be happening this time from this time to this time. Just letting you know so you're not oh my gosh, what is all this noise already? Just to make sure everyone knows what's going on. And
Well,
what's gonna
you're on the internet, you're on the radio, you'll be in the paper, people will know.
So you know on your
Well,
insurance.
it's 10 o'clock
Yeah,
too.
well, yeah, that, I have
Yeah,
a,
contingent,
I have,
Huh?
contingent. If we decide to go, I
Yeah,
think that's
there's gotta-
very important.
yeah, all the parts of all the different permits have to be in place for it to go. There's no question on that.
Is there any
At least
rental
in my
fee
mind.
for the bandstand itself? I guess we've never really, there is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a minimal number.
So, Joey, so you're
It's a minimal number because we
implying that
encourage events to go on.
your DJ, Casey John, potentially is going to have a harder time eliminating the bad words.
He'll have to start working on a different mix. Yeah.
What's that?
I said he'll have to work on a different mix, but
Yeah.
'cause he mixes
So,
too.
so you're thinking that you may change the time from 7 to 10
Right.
instead of
Shorten it up a little bit, even if I get
7 to 9?
Yeah, 7 to 9. Yeah, and clean up.
7 to 9.
Yeah.
That would be. I'm liking you even more. I'm a conservative. I'm a grandma, and so the foul language. Well, the titles of your songs concern me. Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
My
Oh,
question
yeah.
to you, you've been in business for
That
3
would
weeks.
almost be better.
How can you recoup your costs in 2 hours?
Recoup my costs.
Yeah, how can you recoup them costs in 2 hours?
Oh, to make the okay.
Yeah,
okay.
to make the $2,000 for the police officer forever, how do you recoup that cost?
People seeing how I'm doing and how successful I'm starting to get. Because my business has been starting for this short of time, but I've been doing music for probably 2.5, 3 years now. And now I'm starting to go and make my name known a lot more, and a lot of people hear me. So when they heard me on the radio I think it was Friday, my Facebook blew up. Like, oh my gosh, you're on the radio. So then I want to even take it a step further and try and get a billboard. So they can see I'm trying to make it so everyone's like, I can do this. Why can't he can do it? I can do it. I can do all this. Not just music, but like inspire. That's why my last song, Dreamers, it's what I like. That's what
Yeah, Susan, when you mentioned the time for 2 hours, I leaned over to Danny and I said, 2 hours, it's tough to sell tickets for 2 hours. I mean, most people want to get their money's worth if they're going to come. For us to try to curtail as much as I'm saying, I don't want this thing going 6 hours either, but maybe a 7 to 10. I think 10 is early. I mean, 10's way earlier than these other dances that we've had. They've gone to midnight. He's quitting at 10, which is a city park too also, but I don't know if the 7 to 10, it's an hour overlapping with the swimming pool.
Well, is
The
that
swimmers
what-
the swimmers that know that come up, they might appreciate it too. I mean, we got to keep that in mind too. It's not necessarily maybe a noise disturbance. They might be saying, "Wow, hey, we got some different music for a change over here." I mean, you got to keep both aspects open, I guess. So
Yeah, and for me, the pool being open is not an issue.
I agree.
If the lyrics are not an issue,
Right. Right.
because, they play the radio. I mean, they can turn the radio off and listen to you for crying out loud. So,
pool's not an issue for me either.
yeah, to me, I mean, if we can have your hand over your heart and swear in your mother's grave or whoever's dear to you, that we're not going to have the profanity.
Right. And I can. Yeah.
Lyndon, what's the fine for profanity in our parks? For what? Profanity in our parks. What's the fine? So much work.
Well, what it would be is, I got a feeling that Joey's gonna be back wanting to have another event. And so if this one does not go well, then obviously you know what the answer
Right.
is going to be. And we are trusting you to a certain degree. And Marty's right, we try to have events for all age groups, and this is a whole that we have. And so, it sounds like you put a lot of thought into it already.
A lot. Yeah. I even like you said, even if I could, the only reason I picked it was because it was outside and I saw a stage, and I went with it. If I would be, like I said, I would be willing to do it somewhere else. not a problem to me. As long, I mean, I'd probably have to get my own stage, but that wouldn't be a problem either. So,
I think in my perfect world, you would first go and ask Thirsties if you could do an outdoor concert there, and I feel like, I mean, in my perfect world. But I have to say I really like you. I didn't expect to be on your side, but I really didn't, because I went to your website and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to like this kid, but I really do.
yeah, I definitely know that. Yeah, it's like a complete flip-flop from the music. I mean, I don't make violent music though either. Like, I make party and have fun dance stuff. But when I work at Verizon, I don't know if any of you came into Verizon, but I'm...
No, but we will.
Right, come on in. That's Pizza Hut. But this is me. Like, that's my Clark Kent or my Superman. You know what I mean? Like, it's a completely different person. I'm still the same person. That's why everyone, like, I'm not the you usually incorporate rap with what, what we incorporated with. So I'm exact opposite of that.
With that, I would entertain a motion and a motion with any conditions.
I would move to approve with two conditions. One is the lyrics are clean, and the other is all of our requirements, including the insurance, are met.
And did that include all of Lyndon's
Oh, yeah.
security and all of those things that you've talked about?
Right.
And the time, 6 to 10, like he has on his application?
Yeah,
I have
for
no problem
me,
with that.
I think to give him a fighting chance to get the money back and to have people have a good time. And I tell you, I really do like your voice. And if a middle-aged guy isn't going to ruin your demographic, a clean show I come see. But yeah, I'm assuming he's going to do the fencing and the 21 and all the things we talked about. And I am concerned that we don't have insurance. If we don't have insurance, it's a no-go.
Right.
And if we have dirty lyrics, then it's a no-go. But anyway, that's the motion.
And Susan, did you second?
I didn't, but I will.
Oh, okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the application. Any further discussion? We'll have a roll call vote, please.
Olson.
Aye.
Rice.
Aye.
Dosher. Barrington.
Aye.
Allen.
Aye.
Sharps. Aye. Smith.
Aye.
Motion carried. Action to approve on the application of Thirsties for a special event malt beverage license located at Hitchcock Park for May 30th, 2015 for the Davis Days concert.
Go ahead.
State your name, who you represent.
Okay, my name's Judy Rogers, and I work at Thirsties. I'm the general manager there. And I guess I'm just here to support Joey, He asked me if I would do the beer at the event. But what I'm concerned, though, right now, though, is I think he wanted to have 18 and over. So, I mean, I don't know if he's taking that into consideration, because now they're saying 21 and over. So I'm thinking that I want to make sure that he even wants the license to begin with, because I'm thinking that that's why he wanted it outdoors also too. And I don't know if he...
Yeah, and we're not forcing him. All we're doing is putting in place so he can ask more questions, and if he decides to move forward with the license, he can. We brought up other suggestions of, you've got a roped area for the alcohol. Right. Work with Lyndon to possibly have another area that went outside of that area. We've done that before. And of course, again, we haven't stopped anybody from walking up to the fence and saying, I'm just going to listen.
Right,
so
right.
You're going to run that risk too, but of course, most of them are going to want to get close to the stage, I would suspect.
Right.
So you'll have to just put some thought to it, but I think what we've approved is there if you would like to move forward with it. We're not forcing him to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, alcohol will have to definitely be split from the rest of the area, there's no doubt about
That
it.
might
It
make
can be
me
one,
feel more comfortable.
it can be
too.
one big fenced area with a little fenced area inside of it, and that's where the alcohol has to contain in there. So that's
Okay.
That's what we're.
Work with Lyndon.
Yeah, Lyndon will help you out with it.
So I just have a question. Are you then going to be in charge of things like carding and?
Yes, we will have to do that,
Fertilizer.
because I did talk to Lyndon about that, and he said, yes, we would be in charge. But then,
Lyndon, if you could come up to the microphone, the 18 is a, can you let anybody into the concert, but only 21 into the alcohol area?
That's what I would propose.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only licensed area is going to be the interior fenced area for alcohol.
So
Beyond
the-
that, you can't have alcohol is what I'm proposing.
So if somebody wanted to, you know, their toddler was really into this beat, they could bring their toddler as long as it wasn't in the alcohol area.
Right. And so the whole park is not included on the alcohol license either.
Right. So then that would answer the question. 18-year-olds could
Right.
be there, but not.
Okay, that's
It's
what I
not
just,
in the interior alcohol area.
okay. I just wanted to make sure it was gonna benefit Joey, you know?
Yeah, and after all this, if we approve all this and then you guys talk and realize this isn't gonna be beneficial, you don't have to carry through with it. You know, we're giving you approval to make your own business decisions.
You can sell pop and
Yep.
water in the outside fenced area. Just
Right.
the inside one, the alcohol's got to stay out.
Well, I'm mostly here, you know what, I mean, as far as like Thirsties, I mean, he's done me a couple favors, you know, with just starting out there, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to support Joey, and I mean, his show was great, the show that he put on. I mean, there was no fights, there was nothing like that, and I just think he's a really good kid, and I'm here to support him, is what I'm doing.
And so are we.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess that's so what he wants is what I'm trying to do, yeah.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion second to approve the application for Thirsties for a special event malt beverage license. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Action on resolution number 3257, a resolution for bridge reinspection.
This is for professional services to have Bros Engineering be our consultant to do the bridge inspections for this year. This is something that we do every year, and Bros has been the consultant that's been hired for the past several years, and we're happy with their work.
So this isn't something that you get bids on, you just choose whoever you like the best?
You choose, and we got a letter from the state that we have 3 bridges that are calling out for inspections this year.
And the pricing for each of these firms is the same, basically?
Yeah, and, well, I mean, they're similar, and what we don't do is we don't take bids on professional services.
Right.
So which 3 bridges are we looking at?
That I don't have before me right now. It's in my office. But I can get it to you.
So I'm assuming like the Sanborn Bridge is on there sometime.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Maybe not necessarily this year, but sometime.
Mm-hmm.
It might be Sanborn Foster, because we just did the Canal Bridge. I mean, we just did, we're rebuilding the West End Bridge, and that was actually on the list. But being it took so long to get that one rolling, so it might be Sanborn and the Burr Street Bridge.
Foster?
And Foster, yeah.
I'll get the list and provide that.
Yeah, I'm just curious. So
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion second to approve resolution number 3257. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action on resolution number 3258, a resolution declaring surplus property of lot R-3 of Depot Edition of the City of Mitchell, lying in the north half of the southwest quarter of Section 22, Township 103, North Range 60, west of the 5th PM.
Yes, we previously declared this property surplus, and it called for a public sale. Now, it turns out that there's a statute of which I was unaware of as of the last 6 months ago or so when we last acted on this, and the statute provides that a city or county who buys from the State Railroad Commission at appraised value has the right to sell to an adjoining property owner at its then appraised value without going to a public sale. And I think there's 2 adjoining landowners, and to my knowledge, I think they're both interested. But so we'll proceed now with an appraisal, And my expectation is then we would send the notice to both property owners. Now, whether they bid against each other or neither one may need all of it, and between the two of them, it may serve both of their purposes. And they're free to do that also.
And maybe to refresh, this is the city-owned parking lot north of the Depot Restaurant Bar.
Yeah, yes. West of the Depot.
Besides the depot, who's the other property owner that would have interest?
Tom
Steamway
Scott,
Cleaning.
formerly operated Scott's in Valet and Steamway. Now there's a, what's that?
It's not in close proximity to that, it's down by the depot,
Yeah, it's to the
to the north of the depot.
north.
He's just right adjacent to it on the west.
Well, north and west. Yeah. Okay,
Cleaning.
yeah. He has the building, the first building to the west of the depot is owned by Tom Scott. It's a utility storage building with garage doors, type doors. Now, my expectation is that we would, if the city council elects to adopt this resolution, that the mayor would appoint 3 persons to present an appraisal. And then with that appraisal in hand, he would make a written notice to each of the property owners regarding interest that they might have. And I don't know, I guess it might benefit the city if they got into a Dutch auction, but I'm not pushing for that. I don't think that's...
Is that also, Carl, if I remember right, they have to come in within 90% of the fair market value?
They have to be at appraised value.
100%.
100% of appraised value.
Okay.
At or above, right?
Yes.
Okay.
As if they're bidding against each other. Now there is a which may cause some consternation. The generic site clearance language at crossings is on that particular deed. My belief is that it is not applicable as there is no crossing there. But I would imagine when the state bought when BN took over the railroad, and of course that's merged and remerged, but the state said, well, we'll put that in wherever there's a crossing, and they probably said, no, put it in every single one, period, because we must have had a problem somewhere where somebody forgot if they have to pick and choose where it goes and where it doesn't go. So the language is something along the lines of, if this property is within so many feet of a crossing, then the citations, which I can't recite, apply. But I think that there's no crossing there. So.
Is there a motion?
Move to adopt 3258.
Second.
A motion and a second to adopt resolution 3258. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action on resolution for number 3259, a resolution declaring surplus property of lot W1B, a subdivision of lot W-1 in lot H1 north half of the southeast 1/4 of section 15, township 103 north, range 60 west of the 5th PM.
Okay, we previously acted on this property also, and it turned out that there was on each end of this property, there were encroachments from the adjoining landowners, and they're not to the west. A portion of the old Northridge Baptist Church parking lot is actually on what was the old 37 bypass right-of-way that succeeded, or the city ended up being conveyed to the city. And to the east, there's a house, a residential house, and there's some very slight encroachments. Now I've got there, and that's the next item. But so it wouldn't have bothered me as a lawyer to have bought a property with encroachments on it, because I know I can clean them up simply by isolating them off and you're done with it. But having given it due thought, with that knowledge, it would likely concern an awful lot of people and might suppress getting fair market value, because it'll obviously show an encumbrance of, so we sliced those off, so we've got a new description. lot W-1B. I put that on, circled an 18 on the, and that then is a clean lot with no encroachments with, we can advertise and sell and deliver clear title. And we will sell that at public sale. Now, the number 19 would clear the, I guess we'll deal with them one at a time. I'll talk about 19 momentarily.
Yeah, I underlined a section of your description because it was about as clear as mud. But I think what you're saying now is that basically we're just going to let those encroachments go to the current owners of. We're just letting them have that? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I am. That's what I think would be the best way to resolve it. They've been there for a long, many years. What's
Quick
that?
claim deed there for $1 to them, or what do you do there?
Yeah, we give a quick claim deed for title clearance purposes only.
And they just get the property.
They just get it. They've occupied it for a long time. If they sued us, they'd probably win on squatters' rights. So we might as well just clear them back. 20 years to recover property in the city. I've never sued them. And I think the encroachments have been there for more than 20 years.
Move approval of resolution number 3259.
Second. Motion second to approve resolution 3259. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, and number 19 on the agenda is the little slice to the east that contains 0.04 plus or minus acres. Not a lot of land there, but it does contain the encroachment from the people that live there. As it turns out, I got a call from the title company. We started this platting process probably 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and the people that live immediately to the north are in the process of selling their house, planning on closing tomorrow, and would like to have that encroachment cleared. By pure serendipitous coincidence, we happen to be able to accommodate them. Otherwise, they'd be starting back where we were 3 months ago. So that, I think the best thing to do is just clear the encroachments to the adjoining owners.
Move approval of resolution 3260.
Second. Motion and second to approve resolution 3260. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Now, in respect to where the parking lot is, I have not contacted the owner, and it would seem inappropriate to take any action on that until I talk to him.
And Carl had mentioned the appointment of 3 members to appraisal board. I think I did that. You approved it several months ago. I believe Randy, Dennis Robinson, and Neil? Dan.
I don't think you're on it. I think I was on it.
Okay, anyway, that board has been approved.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Action on resolution 3261, a plat of lot 12 of Park Acres First Edition in the northeast 1/4 of section 6, township 103 north, range 60 west of the 5th PM.
Mayor and council members, if I direct your attention on pages 76 through 81, you would see a copy of a plat that was presented at the Planning Commission at their last regular meeting, and you would also note in the Planning Commission minutes that they did recommend approval of this plat. And this is outside the city limits, so the county will be hearing this at their next regular scheduled meeting. So,
Entertain a motion?
just to get your bearings straight, this is just.
Second.
Okay.
Motion second to approve the resolution 3261. Further discussion?
This is directly south in that area of the West End Fishing Bridge. If you go on the other side of to the south, there's a brown house that's right just as you come around Harmon Drive on that corner in that area.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Second reading and adoption of ordinance 2514, an ordinance of the city of Mitchell, South Dakota, rezoning real property illegally described as the west 100 feet of the north 158 feet of block 9, Weaver Square, city of Mitchell, Davison County.
Again, I direct your attention on pages 82 through 86. You would see that there's some background information about this rezoning request that is back before you as for second reading and adoption. Also in there, there's some maps as well to try to refresh your memory where this location was. And you will also recall that the Planning Commission, not at this last meeting, the one prior, did recommend its approval. Just to kind of refresh your memory a little bit, is this area this is about a block right straight south of Haven Street. And the Planning Commission recommended two things contingent on this rezoning, and one was that if the owner does request a building permit to extend to the west, they would have to make sure the property is identified, the property pins or property boundaries, as well as they have to get a drainage plan approved by the Public Works Director. And I believe you also put that as your first reading last time. So I would just entertain any other questions you may have.
What does a 0-foot variance do to visibility for traffic and so forth?
That was one of the concerns there. Obviously, you know, they kind of felt that it would be enough because there's, at some point, if and when the area would ever get curb and gutter and sidewalk, there would still be enough clearance. They felt that there's still some room there. But that is the trade-off, that if this does become central business district, the side yard setback is 0. So that was, and in the initial comments, not this rezoning, but the one they was asking for the variance, that was a comment that was brought up. But,
And that area, they also talked about that area as becoming more of a
yeah,
commercial area versus a residential.
Now, I don't have any problem with the commercial aspect of it, but there are many places in town. I mean, for example, the corner of 3rd and Sanborn, there's a private home there that has a fence. It's impossible to see. You know, there are several places in town where there's a bush, and they are the residential equivalent of a 0-foot setback, and you take your life in your hands at those corners. I just, that concerns me. The rest of it doesn't bother me, but that does.
And I always wonder, you know, is there something magical about that size? I mean, can they make it, is there any leeway on the lot for them to do it any further back? I mean, do they have any other options, or is this like, is this the only way to do it?
If they do it if it gets zoned to highway business district, the only zoning requirement would be is that they meet the 30-foot setback front yard, which is, they obviously do that. They can go into the back. Obviously, if, depending on their materials and what's near them, they might be building code or fire code issues. But that would be what would trigger it. Obviously, if it has a residential zoning, then there are some different setbacks as well. But I believe and I don't see the owner is not here, so I don't want to speak for them.
With a 0 setback on a side yard, if it's on a corner, I guess you can access your side yard for maintenance, but if you're adjoining another property, you can't maintain your property without trespassing.
Right.
So Randy, was that part of the discussion at the commission meeting?
That it's all it's turning towards commercial, and like you said, if it was already zoned commercial, they wouldn't be here asking for any kind of a setback.
So the visibility and the angles were not a concern.
No, we're not a concern.
They still would have to maintain approximately 13 feet because there's no sidewalk and no boulevard in that area. So if and when that would ever get developed, correct.
13 feet to height. And that's why they have to find the lot line for sure before they can do.
So
This property here had a lot of flooding problems. Is this going to make it worse or better?
Well,
that's
why
they got to have a drainage.
That's what the contingent that the Planning Commission had recommended, that if you did require, if the owner decides to pull a building permit for an addition, if the owner doesn't pull a permit or doesn't decide to, then obviously then it wouldn't have to do
A while back, you wanted, I think it was 2 years ago or 3, you wanted curb and gutter there.
Yeah.
Is there curb and gutter there now?
I don't believe so.
No, it's rural. It is rural section. So it is asphalt surface with ditch on both sides.
Now, Terry, we made a run at this before and they voted it out, right?
Well, in that close to that.
Yeah.
That's on Hackberry. This is on
Okay.
Kimball. And we're going to take another run at it here, probably work on another one this winter to focus down maybe the 3 blocks. So
Look in your crystal ball. Is there a time when we're going to be paving this and putting in sidewalk? I mean, is there a plan to do that, or?
not for Kimball right now.
Yeah.
Kimball, this section would go from Hackberry all the way south to where it dead ends into the trailer park.
So do we have any maintenance concerns if this turns commercial, where we're now bringing in 18-wheelers instead of, passenger cars, as far as maintaining the road or anything like that?
Not really at this point. He's mainly building it for, I think, some extra storage. And where he's extending it, when I was sitting back there, I was thinking about what we look at as clear zones at intersections, which is 35 feet from the intersections of where the curbs are. So when we're working on sidewalk projects, and we have and you guys always want to try to save as many trees as we can, so we're not clear cutting trees and doing sidewalks. We typically will work with a property owner to go around trees and things like that. Whereas when we come to a corner, if there's a tree in the way, we tell them that it's got to come out, because it's a clear zone issue and it's basically a public safety issue. Now, if there is a bush in the code, it says the bush can't be any higher than 18 inches high, and then it's got to be trimmed. But we really look at these clear zone issues when we do a sidewalk project and try to clean up some of these issues that we have around town. We have a fair amount of them around town at intersections. This building is far enough back from the intersection to where I don't think it's going to be an issue. That's why Planning Commission looked at that.
I think that one of my things that I was just saying to Jeff is, we're not talking about little changes. I mean, like our zoning, whatever, is 0 or 15 feet, and he's going to 0, and we have a 2,000 square foot zoning rule, and he's going to 5,400. It's like almost triple what we're talking, what we should be allowing. And I just feel like, if he was saying, I'd like to make this 3,000 or something reasonable, or I want to go, instead of 15 feet, I want to go 12 or 10 or whatever. I just feel like this is a significant. I wish that he were here. In fact, if I'd like to say we table it and let him come and answer some questions.
The one thing like Carl said, he mentioned about the 0 setback where you be on someone else's property. Well, that 0 setback is off the street.
Right.
So,
then I'm still sharing. I share the concern with Councilman Wilson that you don't have that visibility. I mean, I hate those blind corners when you're coming out. That's a concern. I'd like to see us continue this to the next meeting and let Mr. Whitstrick come and maybe explain to us why it's so important that we make these variances such large variances.
Maybe something else to consider. The next one is to give Susan some ideas of other 0 areas that we have in commercial, because they're all over town.
Oh, yeah.
So just to get her a little more familiar with some of those, might be some good insights to say, hey, this spot's 0, this spot's 0. A few of the other main ones that we have, right down Main Street, we have them all over the place. But something for that to consider. The other thing is there any other buildings of this size in that area already? I mean, I know there were some other big buildings that got built.
Clockwork could be close there.
So what I'm trying to get at, Susan, there's other buildings of this magnitude already in that area that we've approved over the past years. So.
That were variances.
Well, just a quick clarification is there's 2 issues that are before you. One is the variant. If you leave it at residential, you don't, then he has to comply with the residential setbacks. If you make it commercial, then there are no setbacks. So that's
So
you can't just.
He's keeping it.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that the clarification here.
So we're changing it from residential to a highway business.
Yeah.
Right. And the Planning Commission is somewhat recommending to us that we would like you to do that anyway, even if Bill Whitstruck was not going to buy this piece of property, because it's becoming commercial over there. So let's get it over to that type of business anyway, so it can get resold. So take Bill Risford out of the play of mix. They really think it should be zoned this way anyway. And then, so it can keep on building that type of area over there.
I mean,
So-
I'm not, you know, if you guys don't feel like there's a need
No,
to continue, that's fine. I just, you know,
We could
I
certainly,
only
It's
one.
all kinds of storage units. It's like I said, it is moving into a commercial, and that's why they didn't see a problem.
I see.
but
The rezoning to
From residential district to highway business.
yeah,
Huh?
HB has no setback requirement?
it's up front yard. Just front
That
yard.
front yard.
Other than front?
Nope.
So that's a
Okay, well,
That's
I
the-
mean, if you guys are, I mean, I,
No, no, that-
like I said, I'm one vote, so if I'm the only person that has concerns, then nobody needs to second my request for a continuance.
Yeah, and my point too is I just feel that out of the other areas that are already there, that we've already done before,
Sure.
we're running this one through the gauntlet kind of attitude. And-
Sure.
And why is he getting picked out so much different than the other
Right.
4 or 5 that we already have sitting within a half block from him? That's my point
see
of
what you're saying,
of
yeah.
what I was trying to get.
Well, I could do for you is just try to make sure if this gentleman does pull a building permit, that we would make sure that he's very cognizant of that area. We could certainly do that and so that he's aware of it. Yeah, we can certainly make sure that he's aware of your concerns that, if and when he decides to extend it.
35 feet is the curb line, the base, and the height, 35 feet, and the hypotenuse makes the circle.
So, but I can certainly do that.
Thanks.
Is there a motion?
We need a motion to put it on second reading, right?
Yes.
I would do that, so motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to place ordinance 2514 on second reading. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Move to adopt.
Second.
The motion and the second to adopt ordinance 2514. Roll call vote, please.
Olson,
Aye.
Rice,
Aye.
Gosher,
Aye.
Barrington,
Aye.
Allen,
Aye.
Charts, aye, Smith.
Aye.
And the resolution or ordinance is adopted. First reading of ordinance 2515, supplemental appropriations.
Move to put 2515 on first reading.
Second.
Motion second to place ordinance 2515 on first reading. Discussion?
I just wondered if we could talk about the bike path construction and where that's going and whatnot.
One on here is for the Spillway Bridge. That's where
I
that
think
money
I
is.
knew that, didn't I?
Yeah.
That I- Now that you say it.
Okay.
Thank you. Move to adopt ordinance number 2515. Oh, we did it? Oh, okay.
Have a motion second to place
First reading.
2515 on first reading. Further discussion? We get a little sample of our.
Is that some of Joey's music?
Oh, you're starting early. You don't even have your permit.
It's free publicity.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Entertain a motion to adjourn. No, excuse me. We have one more item. Action to approve a waiver of a building permit fee for the Mitchell Fine Arts Center tabled from the April 20th, 2015 meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second to approve the waiver. Any further discussion?
I just want to say, as an employee of the school district, I'll be abstaining.
And an related matter, I think it was brought to our attention that we have found a new vendor to provide the meals for the senior service nutrition program. The Brig is going to do that for the rate of to be charged to the recipients is $4, and they will receive $5. So I think we found a good solution to the problem, and Jessica showed me a sample of the menu, and it looks outstanding, so I'd want to have to try it. Anyway, all those in favor of the waiver indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Mark me down. Okay, extension.
So noted. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned.